He's reaching out to us and he's calling us to come to him. He's
We're excited. Our treat's in 1 week. You ready?
Yes, we all want to come out. Hi, hello. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Generous.
John and Isa currently hosting the vlog. So, what do you two want to say about the vlog? About what this life night is going to be about?
It's going to be a great one. You all should sink in and see what it's all about. I said sink in.
Anything you would like to say to the viewers? That's it?
Yeah.
Hey.
We're so Rick! Hey, Rick!
Hey.
Hey, I've just changed angles right now.
Hey, changed angles. Here we are. New angle.
My point of view.
Welcome to Life Team.
Welcome. So what are we going to do this life night?
Yeah, you're in for a surprise. You have to continue watching the video to find out.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Starting right now in 3, 2, 1. Here we begin.
These movements, and everybody's going to be having to try to balance. And as soon as you lose your balance, then you have to go sit down at the table. All right? Touch your nose with one finger. Now touch your nose with the other finger. Now put your leg down. And you're going to do it with the other leg. Now, and touch your nose, yeah, touch your nose. And then stick both of your fingers, get both of your arms out. And now close your eyes. Now do a squat on the one leg. Touch the floor with one hand, then come back up and then touch the floor with the other hand. And then you're going to hold one leg back like that, like you're stretching. And then you're going to do it with the other leg, down, down. And then do 5 jumps. It's a really good one too. So now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes, everybody. And then you're gonna hop in a circle. With your eyes closed. what we're gonna do now is we're gonna hold your arms out like this. You can put one arm out, one arm down, all the way down to the floor. Alright, so now we're gonna do it with the other foot. Switch feet and now do it all the way down. So now you're gonna hold one leg up like this, and you're gonna hop around in a circle. Try not to kick anybody. What is next? Your leg still has to be up. So if it's down, you're sit. And then everyone on this side goes that way, and everyone on this side hops back this way.
Stop jumping. Stay still.
What are we doing now? We are going to... So make a T, and then you're going to do a twist this way, and a twist this way. And do it with the other leg, like this. And then, so close your eyes. On the same foot, close your eyes. And then pick up one leg behind, like you're stretching it out. With your eyes closed. Close your eyes, Danny. And now you're going to touch the floor also with your eyes closed with one hand. Everyone's eyes are pretty open. So now we're going to hop on the one foot and try to turn this up. Hop on the one that's up. Keep hopping. Hop, hop, hop. Hoppity, hop, hop, hop. Now touch your nose while you're hopping. And rub your belly with the other hand. And jump around in a circle while doing that.
What do you think of this so far?
I think it's tiring. Have you tried it? It's hard. Nick, jump around in one foot right now.
Hop to the middle, hoppity, hop, hop. Alright, so you guys are the winners. Congrats. You guys are balancing masters.
So if nothing else, if you come for nothing else, at least come for the food, because we always are going to feed you good, because we like to eat here at LAKEY. So we welcome you. We hope that you want to come back again. We hope that tonight makes an impact on you, that you will want to keep coming back each week. So welcome to those of you who are new. Balance and not being in balance. What did you guys think about that game? How was it? Was it easy, hard? Easy. Were you, Julia, were you one of the ones that finished at the end? And it probably wasn't that easy, right? So it's hard when things are not quite in balance. What do you need to make sure that you are in balance? Concentration for sure. You can't be like not concentrating and stay in balance. So tonight we're going to talk about what happens when our life is off balance, and especially what happens when we are not in control of everything, when things are happening to us and we are completely out of control of it. We can't do anything about it when our life is a mess, and because of other people in our lives. So actually the topic of tonight is divorce. How many of you know somebody that has either their parents are divorced or grandparents are divorced, or they have some friends that their parents are? Maybe you guys know some people. Yeah, it's a pretty big number in this room here. And it's pretty, you feel out of control when that happens. Like you are in no control, right? Especially as being teenagers, you guys have no control over what your parents do. And that can seem very frightening to you. So sometimes the hardest thing for us is when we don't have control over that situation at all, and our world is changing all around you. So like when you find out that your parents are getting a divorce, you feel like, what? Maybe that came like completely out of the blue. Maybe you saw it coming. It's both ways, right? Like it happens in many different ways in the people's lives that are experiencing that. And it can feel like a storm that just came out of nowhere and just kind of blindsided you. So when you look at this picture here, okay, here we are. We feel like we're all alone with Jesus walking beside us, though. We're not really alone. But here we are. This is Peter, and he's in the sea with all his co-workers, friends, and he sees Jesus out there walking. At this point, he's probably like, dude, I must have been out here for a long time because I'm seeing things. There is a man, possibly Jesus, walking on water. I have lost my mind. What would you do if you saw something like that? You would be like, wow, something's really wrong with me, and I must be mistaken, right? So I'm going to read to you from Matthew 14:29 through 31. He said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw how strong the wind... You're still on a bed. "Come, Peter, get out of the boat and come and walk on the water." But when he saw how strong the wind was, and he became frightened, and it beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O ye of little faith, why do you doubt?" After they got out into the boat, the wind died down, and those who were in the boat paid homage, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So imagine yourself in that situation, right? Here you are. You're like, "No, Jesus, I'm fine." Jesus is like, "Come on, come out here with me." And you're like, "No, I'm fine here. I don't need to get out of the boat. I'm not really even sure how you're doing that. I know for sure I cannot walk on water." Right? Can any of us walk on water? Would we trust that we could walk on water? Like, that's a pretty big stretch. So here we get out of the boat, and now we take our concentration off of Jesus. We're no longer in balance. Like the storm is coming around us. We're no longer in balance. So what happens? We start sinking. But what is the key to that? Like we're gonna die, right? We're gonna drown. So what do we need to do? We have to scream out to Jesus, like, "Help me, save me." So that's what he does. He reaches out for us. He's reaching out to us, and he's calling us to come to him. He's always there, wanting to help us, but we have to make the first move. He's just waiting for us to say, "Help me," and he reaches out and he takes our hand. He tells us that when everything is in a storm, like a huge mess of our life, he tells us, "I will be with you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you in that place." And this is so important, especially when you're living in a life of so much uncertainty, when you don't know what's happening in your own family, because you are not in any way in control of that situation. So you need to lean on God. You have to go to him. So what can we learn from this? We may not be in a physical storm such as Peter, but when you're experiencing a divorce, it's like a storm all around you. Nothing is in balance, and every day brings on new challenges, and you feel like you're drowning in the midst of all of it. So you just need to shout out to Jesus, and he will rescue you. He wants to have a relationship with you. He wants to come to you. He wants to bring you. He wants you to know that He will never forget you. He will always be with you. He wants to give you His peace. He wants us to rest in Him and come to Him. He's telling us that He will always be with us, no matter what. No matter what is coming at us, no matter how uncertain we are of what's going on around us. But why does this happen? Why do we have to experience divorce? If your parents have experienced a divorce, or possibly they're doing that right now, you may be filled with a lot of anger and confusion as to why this is happening. And it may be a surprise to you, or like I said earlier, it may not be. You may have just kind of seen it coming. But this is not what you want for your life. But you don't know the whole story of what's going on with your parents' relationship. You just know the part that you see. You don't know what happened before you, and you don't know what happens when you're not around. So you have to be forgiving of them. You have to still love them and go to them with the same open heart that you're asking Jesus to go to you with. You have to go to your parents with that. So even though we know a lot of people that in this room, there was a lot of people who knew somebody that was divorced, that's not part of God's plan. That never was part of God's plan. From the beginning of time, He intended for man and woman to be together, always, until death. That's in Matthew 19. But we live in a fallen world, and sin has entered into this, resulting in a lot of broken relationships. And for various reasons, they lead to divorce. So regardless, we can make it. We can survive this situation, this storm in our lives with God's help. So there's many factors about the divorce that are outside of your hands, but there are some things that you can control. You can control how you deal with it, how you see it, by looking at it in a how can it be positive, right? Like, it can't really be positive, but there are some things that can come about it that could be positive. Of course, that's not what we want it to be, but we can still be in a loving relationship with all the people surrounding us. So the reason why I wanted to be one of the ones to talk to you about this is because I actually have had a divorce in my life, myself.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. This is Alicia.